Hey everyone, it's Vincent with Vascotoys. You might notice we're in a different spot today. This is my office, which is also where I display my collection. And today, we're doing a collection room tour.
Vascotoys, action figure dioramas and props.
So we're starting out with my sewer diorama with my Ninja Turtles. So sometimes I switch up my displays, but sometimes I do have 3 out of the 4 NECA movie from Ninja Turtles from the 1990 movie. I need to get Donatello still. I've kind of pieced these together over time. First I got Leonardo, which was awesome, and then once I had Leonardo, I kind of thought it would be cool to start getting some of the other ones. And then I got Raphael as a gift from my brother-in-law. And just last month I decided to actually my wife got me Michelangelo as part of my Christmas gift. So she hooked me up with that. And of course they're in the sewer diorama that we recently did a video for on my channel. So if you take a look, you can see that video on our channel. But overall, like, I just love the way these turtles look, and I think that they represent the characters from the movie so well, and like all the detailing on them is just so cool. The weapons, the shells, everybody has their own personality. All of them really look the way that I remember them in the movie, so I love these guys as part of my collection. Now we're looking at a warehouse diorama that I created a little over a year ago, which there is a video for on my channel if you want to check it out. And in the warehouse I have Dasen model Yusuke Urameshi from Yu Yu Hakusho and Dasen model Kurama from Yu Yu Hakusho as well. This is a brand new line that they're doing, and these two figures just came my way this month. It's January 2022 right now as we're filming this, and I'm gonna have a video review of Yusuke, which will be my first ever action figure review on the channel, so I hope you guys will check that out. But these two figures look really cool in here, and I think that having a warehouse like this is really awesome because you can just put so many different kinds of figures, whether it's Marvel, DC, anime stuff, Ninja Turtles, all that kind of stuff. So I really like having this. I don't always have this Dio in my office. Most of the time it's in my workshop, but I thought a couple weeks ago it would be fun to get it up here and kind of play around with it a little bit, put some different figures in there. So I really love how these guys look in the display. We're looking at the main focal point of the office in terms of what's on the walls, which is my Dragon Ball Z and Spider-Man setup here. So the two Dragon Ball Z pictures on the right and the left that you're seeing are actually illustrations by my twin brother Matt, who's a really talented artist. He does prints and things like that, and I told him I needed some legit DBZ action for my wall space in my new office when I moved into the house, and he put these two together and I just love them. So I've got Super Saiyan Goku and Super Saiyan Trunks. And then in the middle I have a gift that my wife gave me 2 years ago for Christmas, which is a recreation of Spider-Man's first appearance in Amazing Fantasy, and it's that comic book cover that's so iconic, and I just love Spider-Man so much, so I needed to get some Spidey stuff up there as well, and I just really like the way that all this looks together hung up on the wall. So the top shelf of my Detolf inside the cabinet, and by the way, this is an IKEA Detolf. I wanted to get at least one of these because I know it's a super cool way of displaying your figures, and a lot of people, as a diorama maker, I know a lot of people want dios for Detolf, so I have a video about that if you guys want to check that out. But so the top shelf here are all my SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Z figures. The only one in here that's not SH Figuarts is the Broly in the back, which is Dragon Stars, and the reason I have that is because I did a scene from that movie, and a customer wanted to make sure that that figure would fit in there because they were getting it for their son, so you could check that out as well on my channel. But the only one that I really want to call out out of all these is my Super Saiyan Awakening Goku figure, which is the first of this series that I got, and this was also a Christmas gift from my wife. You guys will see a lot of the figures I have in my collection were actually gifts, which I'm super fortunate to have. And so I never forget feeling like a 10-year-old kid again as an adult when I opened this up on Christmas morning from my wife, and I just love this dude. This is my favorite moment from Dragon Ball Z or any of the Dragon Ball franchise, when Goku turns Super Saiyan for the first time and beats Frieza. So I have him in there, and then you guys can see I have been selective about some of the ones I get because I know I'm too late to get all these figures in this line, and so the rest of them that I have here are Goku's, Bardock, a couple Friezas, Gohan as an adult kid, and then we also have Piccolo and Super Saiyan Vegeta, which the Super Saiyan Vegeta is also one of my favorites. This is one of my favorite shelves in my whole collection. My Jim Lee X-Men display, and I pretty much have everybody that I want in here. I could of course add Iceman, I could add Jubilee, but I really like the ones that I have, and I actually shout out to 796 Studios. I have Storm, Jean, and Rogue, all three flying characters, up on his stands, which are awesome if you guys haven't gotten those. And then I have, Bishop, Wolverine, Professor X, Nightcrawler, Colossus, Cyclops, Beast, and Gambit, and I really like these figures, especially when the Retro Rogue came out, because I also have the Juggernaut Wave, which you guys will see on a shelf later. I really like the Retro Rogue, and I just love the way all these guys look together. They're so colorful, they're so vibrant, they're so 90s, which is when I grew up, so I really, really love this setup. So this is somewhat of a mixture of things, all Marvel characters, of course, but some of my favorite figures from Marvel Legends are in this cabinet shelf, and that starts with Retro Spider-Man, who's just awesome. I'm so glad that I have this, and I also have the figure on card, which I never do. I never really keep things on card, as sort of like an insurance policy in case something happens to this guy, because I really love this figure. And then some of my other ones that are my favorites would be this Captain America, the 80th anniversary, and the 80th anniversary Iron Man. Those are awesome. I love the Fantastic Four figures. I love the Walgreens Punisher that's back there. I've got, you know, Thor in the back. I've got some of the other Avengers, the Armored Daredevil. But, you know, it's just so fun, you know, to have all these characters from Marvel Legends, because it's fun for looking at your collection as a whole, but it's also really fun if you're into ACBA, where I try to be, you know, into ACBA. I try to take some good shots, so it just makes for a whole lot of fun when you can have all these characters in the same scale. Alright, so now we're looking at the shelf of infamy here, of villains, Marvel villains. A lot of these are Spider-Man villains, but we also have Ultron, and we have Thanos, and we have Doctor Doom. So just all Marvel villains. And there's a couple different things I want to call out in here. So I got several of these as gifts. I got Mysterio from my sister-in-law. I think my mother got me Puma, and I think there's at least one. Oh, for Father's Day, my wife and my daughter got me Loki a few years ago. So that and so that's really cool. For me, when I think about the figures I got, I love when I can connect it to a relationship that I have with somebody that got me the toy, or an experience. Like I got Taskmaster at FC Comic-Con, which was the first Comic-Con I ever attended as an adult, which is pretty cool. And then there's a couple other things too, like this Jackal I got from my friend Tech Chucker, who does This Week in Dioramas. He was selling his Marvel Legends collection. He gave me a really good deal on that, and I've been wanting that for a while, so that was pretty awesome. And then another thing I want to call out is Doctor Doom is wearing a soft goods cape, and actually, if I can get him out without knocking everything over, it's by Daredevil 19 Customs, and look at this thing. This is incredible. You can it's wired, so you can do whatever you want with it and make it look super cool, very dramatic. It's one of my favorite things that I have. You know, I don't do a lot of custom capes and things like that, but I felt like Doctor Doom didn't look right with such a static cape, and so I just really love to have something like this from another artist in the community who, you know, to add to my collection. Alright guys, so here's my Batman shelf. I don't have a ton of Batman figures, but the ones I do have are like really high quality and I love them. So this Dark Knight Returns Batman is the first MAFEX figure, however you want to say it, that I ever had in my collection. And this was a gift from my friend Darius, so really appreciate him sending this to me for Christmas. I think it was in Christmas of 2020, and that opened up my world to realizing how cool the MAFEX figures were, and I always wanted to get in on them. So once I had him, I had already had my eye on the Hush Batman, and I really liked the blue version because that's mostly what the look is in the book, and he comes with the unmasked Bruce Wayne head, which is really cool. I don't have him on here. And then I also so I bought him after I got this one, and then my wife for Christmas this year got me Catwoman because I really wanted to try to build up my high quality DC figure collection. And so this is what I have so far, and I have Nightwing on pre-order for the Hush line from MAFEX, and I really wish that I had gotten Superman. I missed out on that pre-order and I regret it every day, so hopefully I'll get him at some point if they re-release him in the future. But this Batman is definitely what I would say top 5 figures in my collection as far as my favorites. So this is my Black Series shelf, and I don't actively collect Black Series. I did buy a few of these myself, but most of these were gifts to me. So thanks to all my friends and family that got me this stuff. I do love Star Wars, but you know, I do realize that I have so many different lines in my collection that I have to be selective with certain things. So I kind of try to stick to just some of my favorite characters, and like I said, I did get some as gifts. So my favorite character in all of Star Wars is young Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I loved Ewan McGregor's portrayal of him in the prequel series, so I do have the Jedi Knight version of him here, which I think is awesome. And I've got Yoda next to him. This was I think it was the one that was on the retro card, the vintage card. and I think he's really cool. Same goes for Darth Vader. He was on the vintage card as well. So these two were gifts from my father and mother-in-law, which were really, really cool to get. I did buy the Mando myself, and the first Black Series figure I got is Kylo Ren all the way in the back, and then shortly afterwards I got Captain Phasma. Each one of those I got for like $3 or $4 on Big Bad Toy Store, and I think I found Phasma and Ross. And then you have Darth Revan in the back, which is from Knights of the Old Republic. That my brother-in-law got me. He also got me this Dark Stormtrooper, so that's awesome. And the Stormtrooper from The Mandalorian is actually from my buddy Mike. He goes by High School Creations on Instagram. Super talented diorama artist, so you guys check him out on Instagram and on YouTube. He has a lot of cool tutorials and stuff too. But yeah, I really love my collection, and I should mention too, this wired cape on the Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian is also a Daredevil 19's custom cape, just like my Doctor Doom one, and this thing really adds so much to this Mando figure, which is probably my favorite of all the Star Wars figures I have. Alright, so this is my fantasy shelf. Most of my fantasy figures are on here, and that kind of starts with Mythic Legions, which I have Baron Volgar, Vitus, I have Magnus, and I have Balius, which is the horse. And I just got into those figures in 2021, and let me tell you guys, they are awesome. If you like fantasy figures and you pre-order them when they come out directly from Four Horsemen, that is the way to go. You get a really good value if you order them at retail. If you wait and get them on the secondary market, they're very, very expensive. So I think a standard Mythic Legions figure is around $34 plus shipping. So this guy right here, Vitus, I think was around that much. But if I wait until after, it's double that about at Big Bad Toy Store, and then on eBay, you know, a year from now it'll be even more. So I really love that I have these guys now, because I do really like fantasy, and I didn't have a ton of those figures before. And then I also have two Marvel Legends, Hercules, and he's holding one of the Mythic Legion swords and his mace. And then in the back, you can't see, I have Black Knight. He's broken, so like I have him standing up. I just haven't had a chance to have him fixed. And then the other two figures here are the NECA Ming, which I just think looks cool with these guys, even though he's he doesn't go with these, but I think he looks aesthetically right to be with them. And then finally I have the McFarlane Geralt of Rivia from The Witcher 3, and he looks really cool on the Mythic Legions horse, because that horse looks just like Roach. And I was a big fan of the Witcher 3 video game, and also am a fan of the Netflix show. So I like to have him displayed up there, even though he's really meant for Magnus or Vitus or somebody like that. But overall, like, I just love the way these guys all look together, and I love that you can kind of like intersperse these different figure lines together and have them look cool. So hopefully in the future I'll have some more dios that are focused on these guys, because I think there's so many possibilities. Alright, so this shelf is pretty cool because this is the first wave as an adult that I completed Marvel Legends of, and it's the only, Sasquatch is actually the only Build-A-Figure I've ever built. I love a lot of the Build-A-Figures that are out there. I just don't always love the figures that I have to get to make them, especially because you guys will see I don't really have any MCU figures in my collection. So I don't complete Build-A-Figures often. He's very cool, and most of these were gifts. I think Deadpool, the X-Force Deadpool, was the first one that I bought myself, and then I got the other ones all as gifts. So, you know, this one is a cool shelf just for that fact. It's not necessarily my favorite wave, but it's just kind of cool from a nostalgia standpoint. Actually, this Wolverine's not from that wave, and neither is Shatterstar, but that's the X-Force team, so I put them in there. Alright guys, so this is my smallest, or my least populated shelf. It's my NECA stuff. So I do have NECA Ming, I mentioned, and I do have the 3 movie Ninja Turtle NECA figures, but they're in different spots right now. Sometimes I switch stuff up, but for right now, this is the way it is. Dutch, Predator, and Marty McFly, because I love Back to the Future, don't we all? And so yeah, this is where, you know, most of my NECA stuff is at. This is probably my most packed shelf in my whole collection. And by the way, I didn't mention, these shelves are Calyx shelves from IKEA, and they're basically just cubed shelves. And they come in a bunch of different sizes. I think they have 4, 8, I think they might have a 6, and I think they have a 12 and a 16, all at varying prices. I have 2 of the 8 cube shelves here that we're looking at now. And then I have a third one that was in a different part of the room as well. So this is kind of just a random assortment of things and a few call outs. So Punisher with it was the Riders edition with the motorcycle is in the front here. I really like this. Actually, this was a gift from the person that's doing the video right now for me, my videographer Brendan, so thanks to him. Thank you, Brendan. So we've got him, we have Peter Parker, Mary Jane. So this is kind of interesting. I have one MCU figure in my collection, and it's the J. Jonah Jameson from No Way Home, and the reason I have him is because my retro carded comic J. Jonah Jameson, his arm is completely frozen, and I've tried to heat it up and everything, and it will not bend. And so I really can't use this the way I want to, and I thought if I got the MCU one, I could put the comic head on the J. Jonah body. So that's a very simple kit bash that I really like. So I don't know if you guys like that, but that's gonna be my J. Jonah Jameson. And then I have Black Cat, who's one of my favorite characters from Spider-Man, and I really think that this figure is cool, except, you know, for the fact that it doesn't have double jointed elbows, but I really am happy to have a Black Cat. And then I have Johnny Storm and the Thing in the back. Those are my doubles because I have multiple of those guys, and Daredevil and AIM soldiers and some of my Scourge kind of army builder guys in the background as well. And then I have Carl from The Walking Dead, who I use as a generic kid in some of the stuff I use. Not my favorite character. That was actually a gag gift from Brendan as well back in the day. Alright, so here's my X-Men villain shelf, and I actually do have another villain that's not here because I haven't opened him yet. I have the Pyro and Rogue 2-pack that I got on clearance at Best Buy for $20, so it's pretty good because it was normally $50. But I'm gonna put him in here, and I do have Magneto, Lady Deathstrike, Omega Red, it's Mr. Sinister, and the Juggernaut from the Colossus Juggernaut 2-pack, which is a super awesome 2-pack that Legends put out. So I had to give. I should probably do this at some point with my Spider-Man villains as well, but I felt like the X-Men villains that I have needed their own shelf, and they look really cool together. I just need to get my hands on a Sabretooth and a couple others, but so far so good on these. This is pretty much like my X-Men doubles or multiples shelf. I have 3 Cyclops in my collection, and so I have the Love Triangle one back there in the bomber jacket, which is an awesome figure, and then I do also have the Love Triangle Wolverine with the unmasked head on it. Since you guys saw, I already have the Apocalypse Wave one. And then Magneto, the same thing. I have my helmeted one on a different shelf, so I display the unmasked one here. And then I've got like Gambit and Rogue. Those are the older versions from Legends, so I put them here. I have another Colossus from the 2-pack, so the other Warlock Wave one is in the back. Thanos, that Thanos I actually got at, unfortunately I got this at a convention, and I bought it used, and as soon as I opened him, his ab crunch was broken, which is super disappointing, but it's okay because I do have the newer version that I like better, so I may sell this guy at some point or just retire him, I'm not sure, but for now he's back here. And then I have Quicksilver, who I do not have doubles of, but I just kind of put him in here because I thought he looked cool with these other figures. This is a pretty cool shelf, very different than my other stuff. This is not 1/12 scale stuff for the most part. It is a lot of 5-inch figures, some 12-inch, and some even bigger stuff. So we'll start with the biggest guy. We've got Buzz Lightyear in the back from the original release of the original Toy Story. That's the alternate Buzz that came out, and most of his electronics don't work anymore, except His laser does work. Doesn't sound great, but that's my original Buzz that I got when I was like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old, maybe younger than that. So he's back there. I have a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers from Bandai from back in the day. I do not have his sword. I do have a gun that I got that wasn't original to him, and he does have some smudging on his paintwork or some wear and tear. But the Red Ranger was always my favorite as a kid, and it was a big part of my early childhood as far as like my fandom of things. So I do have him in there. I think I got him for like $4 on eBay. Then I have this Spider-Man, which is I believe a Toy Biz Spider-Man from back in the day, and this was one I played with all the time as a kid. And you can see some of the wear and tear, some of the webbing is, the paint is peeled off, and there's some peel off on the feet, and some of the for some reason his whipping hand has no fingers anymore. But for nostalgia purposes, this was one of my favorite action figures as a kid, so I keep it in here. This was one of the coolest things I ever remember getting as a kid. Got this back at KB Toys probably in like 1999 or 2000. And this is Super Saiyan Goku. I don't know if this is Irwin Toys. If someone can let me know in the comments, that'd be great. But I don't have his shirt anymore because that piece was something that came off on this line. But this was the original Super Saiyan Goku that I got back in the day when I was first watching Dragon Ball Z. This is probably one of my most prized possessions in my collection. And it's just cool to have that. Another one that I played with so much that you can tell from the wear and tear is this Kenner Batman. His logo is pretty much worn off. I had the Kenner Batcaves when I was a kid, and I loved that thing from the 1989 Batman movie. Don't have his cape anymore. I think he had accessories. I have no idea where they are. Some of the pieces on him are like worn down, like the two pieces on his cowl. Those are gone. Some of the paint is completely worn off of his hands and things like that. But again, I played with this so much as a kid. I love that I actually have the original one that the original figure from my childhood. Then I have Rocky Balboa in the back, a Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and that Goku statue is not something from my childhood. I just thought it was cool, and actually got it a few years ago, and it's the only statue in my collection. Alright, so here we have my Iron Man display. Hasbro has been giving us so many cool Iron Man related figures that I thought, maybe it would be cool to create some Iron Man chambers, and these do have lights and everything. And you guys can check out the videos where I explain how I made these on my channel, so I'll leave a link to that. But I have the AI version, the classic kind of Iron Man. I have War Machine, the deluxe War Machine, modular Iron Man, which is my favorite other than the 80th anniversary. And then this is the Invincible Iron Man stealth suit. So I've got all these guys in here, and I just think that they look super cool together. These chambers are actually for sale if anybody's interested. So I'll leave a link to my eBay for those as well. And they're separate. So each chamber is its own diorama piece that has working electric or battery powered electric lights, and has 3D printed parts and all that. So you guys can check those out. So here we've got a couple different things. I have the Masters of the Universe He-Man from the Netflix series on a single figure diorama base that I have for sale. And then I also have the prototype for my wall-mounted diorama with the backdrop on it, which I wanted to keep for myself just because it was one of the first that I did like a limited run pre-order on. And in there I have a couple different figures: Marvel Legends, Toy Biz era, Cable. I have the Hellfire Club Goon that Army Builder Hasbro did. I'll move Vulture out of the way. I have a Batman figure. I don't know what line this is from. And then I have Marvel Legends Daredevil from the Sasquatch Build-A-Figure wave. And also have the Hellfire Club Goon box displayed because I thought it looked cool next to the X-Men the Animated Series art book and the Making of the Animated Series book, which is really cool. If you guys don't have it, I love that book. It actually has a lot of really cool concept sketches for the sets that they used in the show, or the designs for the sets that they used in the show. which are a huge diorama inspiration for me, and I'll probably be making some dios based on some of the stuff in that book. Wanted to show you guys this piece of custom artwork by my brother Matt. His Instagram is MA_sketchbook if you want to check out his illustrations. He does a lot of really cool recreations and some custom stuff too. But for my birthday, he actually drew this, recreated this panel from the Dragon Ball Z manga where Goku turns Super Saiyan and fights Frieza on Planet Namek, which is my favorite moment from Dragon Ball Z and super iconic scene from the manga or the show. So he actually had this printed on metal, which is great because it really doesn't glare very much, and it also is scratch resistant. So this thing is going to really stand the test of time, and I won't have to worry about it fading. I won't have to worry about it getting damaged. But as soon as I got this, I knew I had to find a spot and put it in my office because it was just so cool. So this is not action figure related, but I am a sports fan, and actually the first thing that I really collected with purpose was baseball cards, and specifically baseball rookie cards. When I was in high school, I kind of got into trying to get all my favorite players as their rookie cards. And so recently I went to Hobby Lobby and got this, I think it's like a shadow box, and I put each of my most favorite rookie cards in to protective sleeves, and I glued the protective sleeves onto the shadow box so the cards can come out and be undamaged, but that way they'll stay in the shadow box and not fall down. So just a couple of highlights of some of the guys that I have in here. I'm a huge Mets fan, so a lot of these are my favorite Mets players over the year. You've got Mike Piazza, we've got David Wright, several David Wright cards, we have Jose Reyes, Yoenis Cespedes. We also have Carlos Beltran, and I even have some players currently on the team, which would be Pete Alonso, Brandon Nimmo. Then I also have some of the other great players from this era: Ken Griffey Jr., Derek Jeter, Nomar Garciaparra, Gary Sheffield, Chipper Jones, Craig Biggio, and Josh Hamilton, Manny, of course, as well. And I even have a Bo Jackson. So this was kind of like one of my first things that I really got into, and then I kind of had two phases where, like, in high school I started doing this, then when I went to college I didn't collect as much, and then when I graduated, right before I got into collecting figures again as an adult, I was big into doing the baseball cards, and kind of just found that as much as I loved collecting these, that it wasn't something that I enjoyed as much as the action figures, but I do still love looking at these and having these displayed. Thank you all for checking out my collection room today. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I hope you'll subscribe to the channel. Also, let me know in the comments what you think of my setup. Obviously, I love it, but I'd love to hear what you think. And otherwise, we will see you guys in our next video.